on this edition of the Cigar and Thoughts. How's everybody doing on this beautiful Wednesday evening? Hope everybody's doing very well. Got my cigar, the favorite brand of Gloria Cubana Series R. It's always good to have a cigar on a relaxing summer evening. I wanted to talk to you guys about the layoffs that happened at ESPN. Where a lot of the personalities were laid off, especially Rich Eisen, who was on Baseball Tonight for almost 30 years, getting laid off. And you got Bart Scott, who was an excellent football mind. He got laid off. But the most controversial is Ryan Clark getting laid off. Live on TV. Getting fired right off of TV while he was doing a segment. Everybody speculated that he got into an exchange with one of the personalities there. I forgot his name. He's a nobody. Who cares? But I think ESPN had a list way before he went on the air. They were going to fire him right after the show, but they decided, you know what, let's go ahead and do this now. Because that's how corporate America operates. Share of layoffs. When I was in corporate America, when I started off, when I got my degree, started off at more. I wasn't involved in that layoffs, but I saw 1998 to 2000. The stock market was booming, the economy was booming. There was so many .com companies. You know, they got petfood.com, they got toys.com, they got. It was the start of the infancy of fintech, financial technology, where they had online banking, which we see today. A lot of those old companies, you know, that existed back then, back around 98 to 2000, they got merged with the bigger banks, and they just perfected the technology. Then Amazon and eBay was the sole survivors of that .com bust. But because of the .com bust, they had to lay people off. The investment banks were losing money. Therefore, they had to do some cost-cutting measures by laying people off. I got to see it firsthand. And it's not pretty where you have people of all walks of life, all races, all ages, who relied on a job, on a little job to pay their rent, put food on the table, and feed their families. All of a sudden, they're out of a job. Now they're looking for another job. All right. So that was my hint. Whereas I got to make my own money outside of a job. Okay. My only regret was not going to trade school. Instead of going to graduate school, go to trade school, learn a skill that would sustain me just in case I get fired from a desk job. So I'll be able to work with my hands. Because let me tell you something, as a man, you got to go ahead and work with your hands. You should not be in an office job. You should be out there doing heavy equipment, working with heavy equipment, heavy machinery. But, you know, since they took out the trades out of high school, What are these boys are left to do? So I feel sorry. I think they did that intentionally so they could sell trade school, such as ITT Tech in DeVry, with the Apex Tech, where they can just sell you on going to trade school for almost the cost of going to college. All right. Over time, you're going to be making money, but you don't want to be saddled with debt starting off as a young person in your life. This is why I tell all you young folks, man, hold off on going to college, man. If you're going to college right now, if you're going on scholarship, cool. But if you have to take out a financial aid package that includes student loans, which now they're changing the guidelines for student loans now. All right. You sure you want to go to a school and pay over, with the help of your parents, to pay over $100,000 a year? Because now it's creeping into the 6 figures now. For college, for going to a private school. 6 figures. 6 figures a year. I may be exaggerating the 6-figure part, but again, you're going to come out with debt. You're going to come out with debt over the 4 years in the 6 figures. Who's a professional, and they have over 6 figures in debt, almost $250,000 in student loan debt, and that doesn't include the federal debt. Those private student loan debts are the ones that's going to bite you in your ass. There is no consumer protection, meaning the government, you're on your own. They can do whatever they want to collect their money, and if you default, if you don't pay them, man, doggy, it can fuck you up. That's why I'm glad I got all my student loans taken care of years ago. Getting back to ESPN layoffs, you gotta have a job. If you're graduating from college and you got a corporate job and you're struggling to keep that job, or it ain't what you thought it was, try to consider going to trade school at night or on the weekends. Like I said, there's plenty of work out there, but there are no jobs anymore. Jobs is for anybody that knows how to utilize LinkedIn. If you have a college degree as well as a graduate degree, and it doesn't have to. You don't even need a degree. You just go out there and network with these people. There are executives right on LinkedIn right now you can chat with. They'll give you the game. Some of them will give you the game for free. One of these people don't mind chatting with you. But if you are going to college, just pick out a career where you are able to pay off your student loans. Try to get as little debt student loans as possible. So that means if you have to go to your local state school, like the University of Michigan Dearborn, instead of the University of Michigan Ann Arbor, if you can't get in there, go to Dearborn. It's a pretty good school. Has a for some of your majors. possible, go ahead and start off in a community college. You know, you can learn a trade from community college. You can get a trades degree from an associate's degree in some of the trades out there. Whereas you can work while going to a 4-year school, transferring to a 4-year school. But all in all, you just have to have a job outside of. You have to have a job right outside of. You have to have. Yeah, you have to make your money outside of a job. You'll come to find out that corporate America ain't what it's cracked up to be. Some people are built for it, some people are not. All right. As for Ryan Clark, he'll be all right. These guys will be all right. They got laid off at ESPN. They'll be all right. All right. You know, if they develop the connections, they'll be able to land jobs elsewhere or develop their own platform. All right. Because some of you young folks out there that have a corporate job, utilize that skill that you learned in college to develop your own platform. Hell, I saw on LinkedIn that there was a brother who couldn't get a job in investment banking, busted his ass and saved up a whole bunch of money and developed his contacts, and he developed his own firm. There's a guy I worked with who developed his own firm, who developed his own investment bank. Well, he was smart enough to just go ahead and take the exams for the licenses. Wish I had kept in touch with him, but we fell out. It was an acrimonious breakup, so we fell out. That happens. But you don't want to look back. You always going to want to look forward in life. So if you are in a position of being laid off, don't in your 20s. Life comes at you fast. You're going to be 50 within the blink of an eye. Okay? So you better go ahead and get some healthy work, some good work habits. You should be working more than 40 hours a week. No women, no drinking, no partying, none of that. When you get out of college, you should be ready to work. You should be able to bust your tail and work. Find work. So you should be at a point where you should have a job, a business, and owning stocks. You should have a business, owning stocks, and owning real estate. I'm not going to tell you how to do it. This is not a how-to podcast. You got to develop it yourself. You got the skill set. You got to find out what your skill set is and work on it. What is your life purpose? See, God can only tell you what your life purpose is. All right? God is telling me to go ahead and fire up this live stream and talk to you fellas about having your own platform, having your own shit, develop your own skill set. So if you get fired from one of these jobs, you'll be able to get another job easily. So you won't have to go ahead and do door dashing, tearing up your car doing door dashing or Ubering. Going through all that bullshit. Okay? I wish everybody on who were laid off on this round of layoffs at a billion-dollar company, I wish them well. But I can honestly tell you from my first experience watching that layoffs at Morgan Stanley Dean Witter, it wasn't a pretty sight. Seeing people in their 40s and 50s being having security watch over them while they pack their shit for 15 minutes to head out to the elevator, to hand over their badges, to sign off on an agreement, not to, a severance agreement where they're going to get 2 weeks pay. Okay? A check in the mail or a direct deposit where they have to go on unemployment. While looking for another job. Going on interviews and getting rejected, getting ghosted, because they don't reject you. These companies don't send you a rejection letter anymore. They'll just ghost you. They'll just say, nah, fuck that motherfucker. They have you walk into an interview knowing that, hey, I already hired somebody else for the job. You really want to go through all that bullshit as a man? Or you want to go out there and learn a trade, and you can get your college degree, just learn a trade. Learn some skills, learn how to work with your hands. That's what a man is supposed to do. Not sit all day, sit in your parents' bedroom, sit in your bedroom in your parents' house, playing Xbox all day long, watching porn, before you go to your job at 7-Eleven. Okay? Also wanted to talk to you guys about what happened, what I saw on Facebook. Well, actually, I saw it on a body cam video, police body cam video, about there was this woman that got arrested at the Cheesecake Factory. Okay? All right? This sorry ass bitch got arrested at the Cheesecake Factory because she was unable to pay a $350 bill that they ran up with her and her friends. And she invited a simp. I guess the fella decided they wanted to go on a date with her, asked her out on a date, and told her, and she actually invited him out to go to the Cheesecake Factory, I guess. I don't know what was going on with that. So the police got involved. He said, I ain't paying for all these bitches. See, I did a podcast about that, where these black bitches running around finessing these guys, setting these guys up, going to the restaurant, inviting them to a dinner party with her friends, a birthday dinner party with her friends. And then after the dinner is over, they decide to look at him to take care of a $2,500 bill that they ran up. Her and her friends ran up. And decide, hey, you be paying for me and my friends. Nope. See, I never see videos like that when white women would do that to the white men. I know that they finesse their men too. All women do that shit. All women are finessers. All right, they'll find a way to finesse you. All right, so that's why these passport bros out here talking about there are better women out there. These women ain't overseas. These women ain't that much better. It may be worse in the finessing because they make you feel like you're a man. They make you feel like they'll be doing things that you've never done before. They'll be doing things to you that you've never experienced before in your entire life, dating these sorry ass American women. But that's how they get you. That's how they get you. And you fall for it. That has nothing to do with game. Well, it has a little to do with game, but it has nothing to do with game. Okay, they'll use their feminine wives to finesse the pants right off of you. It's just that these black women haven't really grasped that concept of femininity. They feel like they can talk crazy to a black man and he would just bow down to her. And most of y'all would bow down to these women. But like I said, I understand. I understand because y'all value, because as a black man, most black men, including my, and we undervalue our self-worth. I didn't figure it out until I started dating out. I started dating women other than black women. Okay. Yeah, I hate to say that the game has always been sold, not told, but there's no real game unless you understand that the women in your life is going to try to finesse you. Even these little girls be finessing the fathers in their lives. They learn how to finesse. They don't learn how to get over on the father. That's the first man that they ever try to get over on is their father. But some of these black bitches don't even have fathers in their lives, so they're not finessing anybody. They can't finesse their mother because their mother don't even. They're competing with them. Their mother likes to compete with them, with their daughters. That's why you have this shit running around. That's why you have black women doing stupid shit like this. Finessing. I know from experience about 2 years ago, about a year ago, some black bitch tried to finesse me out of $1,000 for her to go to bartending school. Bartending school, not the training school, not the secretary school, bartending school. And she tried to play that game. She tried to game me. I wasn't falling for that shit. I wasn't falling for that bullshit. And you shouldn't either. Let me see how much time I have left because I got shit to do. All right, been 30 minutes. I can talk to you. I can talk to the fellas a little bit longer. Like I said, I was finessed by some black bitch, and that was the last black woman, and that's the last black woman I ever dated. Now, the white woman I hooked up with when I was down on vacation, I just paid her bill, which was like $31. I paid the bill, and she gave me some pussy, and that was the end of it. That's why I like that. This is what I like about white Caucasian women, man, because they'll give up the pussy if they like you. I'm just saying, if they like you, if they think you're hot, if they feel comfortable around you, they will give you some pussy. You ain't got to go on no 3 dates. You ain't got to do all. You ain't got to be buying bitches, her friends want, paying for her friends' drinks and all that bullshit and all that finessing. You ain't got to do all that shit. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to go in their spaces now. I ain't trying to go into white folks' spaces. All right, I'm cool with y'all. Y'all can have your spaces where you can, call black folks nigger all the time. We ain't even thinking about you. When I'm in my space with my brother, with the black men and black women, we don't really talk about y'all. Matter of fact, when me and my family get together, we don't talk about white folks. We don't talk about that shit. At least in my family, I don't. I leave them people alone. But you got to know your white folks, man. If you're out there dealing with white women, you better learn real quick what type of white folks you're dealing with. I had a friend who was dating this Italian woman, right? She flew out the world. My boy is crazy, just like I am. Maybe even crazier. She used the N-word on him. She called him a nigger, and he called her a nigger back. It's like, you're more of a nigger than I am. If I were to go through your family tree, if I do a genealogy, a nigga will fall out of that tree. Don't play with me. I'll expose you. But that was years ago when that happened. I haven't spoken to him since then. I just started cracking up because I thought this motherfucker was so crazy. I thought he was going to whoop her ass for using that word. No. He did what I would have done if a white person called me a nigger. I would have called you one back. Fucking nigger. Your mom is a nigger too. I get involved in arguments with pitiful people. Like Chud the Book Builder, he's a pitiful man that's sitting in jail right now because he wanted to take a black man out. That's what that was all about. And usually somebody that, usually particularly white men, who usually are racist, who are hardcore racists, they usually have some sexual problems. They have some sexual issues. Some of them are cross-dressing. I mean, think about it. Hitler was a cross-dresser. He may have been a cross-dressing transsexual, a trans fag. They love dealing little boys, man. A lot of them have erectile dysfunction, man. They go out there talking about nigga this, nigga that, but they're out there watching porn, interracial porn with black men railing a white woman. That's the biggest seller out there, interracial porn involving a black man and a white woman. I don't know how it is now, but because I don't watch porn anymore. I stopped watching porn 5-6 years ago. Because think about it, what do you get out of it? Watching another man bang on a woman that you want to bang on, and then you're jerking off to that shit, man. Or you jerking off to women that you don't, that you have no chance of banging, meeting, or bang, or even getting to see their titties live in living color. You're not going to meet these people. You're not going to run into these people. So why am I watching this shit? When I can go out there, if I have some game, I can go out there and start banging chicks. You got to get out of your house to meet chicks, man. To the point where you probably won't need porn in your life. I don't watch that shit anymore. For what? I mean, truth be told, I watch it occasionally, but it doesn't do anything for me. Not anymore, because let me tell you something. Ever since I started watching porn, I developed my own attraction to real women. I know I'm not gonna get the 8s, 9s, and 10s, but there are 7, 6s out there, 5s that are decent looking, that I can be seen with. All right, and if your dating market is 3s, 4s, and -1s, I mean, you got to work with what you got, man. Find, like I told you before in my last live streams, find out who likes you. But you don't have to go with the ones that like you. You gotta vet them. You gotta find out how crazy this bitch is. All right? This bitch may be a crazy bitch. You don't know. You don't know how psychotic this bitch is. The ones that like you may not even like them. Your dick probably won't even get hard for this bitch. You gotta find the woman that makes your dick hard. All right? Where you to the point where you don't even need Viagra. You don't need Rose Sparks. You don't need Viagra. You don't need the Blue True pill. You don't need all that shit. Probably do need to take some supplements, some vitamin supplements, man. I'm using L-arginine. That helps the blood circulate. They'll definitely get your dick hard, man. That's one of the supplements that I would suggest. Well, listen, let me see how much time I got left. All right, I've been talking to you guys for 35 minutes. Let me get the fuck up off here. I got shit to do. Well, I gotta get some sleep, but I gotta get some work done. Well, listen, this is talk. I'll get at y'all fellas on Saturday during the Balcony Chronicles, all right? Well, listen, this is Talking Crazy 88, and I am out of here. And black men, let's be careful out there, right?